Good morning, Keith, from Scotland.
Yes.
Give Me Five this morning. Welcome to Give Me Five this morning, Keith. Now,
Thanks.
Keith,
Yeah.
in times past,
Yes.
you were an accomplished radio presenter. What was that like? I mean, what was your aim and purpose?
Aim and purpose. I wouldn't say, I don't know who told you I was accomplished. I was okay. Yeah, that was a while ago. I was quite young in the faith then, Jeannie. So there wasn't any opportunities for sort of witnessing to people on an individual level because, of course, you were a radio presenter. So you had to sort of witness on a corporate level. You didn't have that time to do that. But there were people that would ring up and I could chat to. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I worked in every aspect of the radio. The only thing I didn't like was the news because you couldn't make mistakes on the news.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, my vision was, I think it was just to try and get the gospel out there. And it was, I think, if I remember rightly, it was a while ago, but I think we were a couple of notches down from a popular secular station. So sometimes people would tune in by mistake. So that was good. So we could sneak in the gospel when they weren't sort of, weren't expecting it. But I think my vision was just to try and present God in a light sense. You couldn't get too heavy. But we were always told, let the spoken features and the music do the witnessing. Yeah. So we didn't do it. We didn't do a lot of, and this is what God is telling you this morning, because we always saw that as part of what we were doing anyway. And also I think it could get a little bit cloying if people did that. They had to be light and upbeat, and the time is this, and we're coming up later on, we've got this. So there wasn't many opportunities, but I did do something which was a bit naughty, because we were given the playlist, which we stuck to quite rigorously. And if we didn't stick to it, really, we had to have a reason. But every time I did my Sunday program, I would play a music bed, some instrumental music for about 5 minutes, and just play it for people to have the opportunity to talk to God. So I did that. That was something I did, which was not on the playlist. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a very long time ago, so my memories are a little bit unclear on it. But I just remember it being just great. I mean, I wanted to present all the time. I wanted to do every program. So I was a dream for the management, because they would just fill in all the gaps, put my name in it. I was on my own. I wasn't married, didn't have any kids, so I lived up the road, so I could easily just come in and do some shows. So great memories, great memories.
Yeah, that's really good, Keith. And it's good to have a vision like you had there, and that opportunity to talk about the Lord. Now, yeah. Keith, you are a minister in Scotland.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about your work in Scotland, Keith.
Yeah, well, it's my first full-time pastoral position where I'm sort of main pastor, not, I don't know what the term is, just pastor without anything
Yeah.
inside of it. Because I've been at MIT and I've been an associate pastor.
Okay, an MIT?
And that was a great teaching, because you learn so much. Yeah, an MIT. I was, Jeannie, minister in training. So I was that for about 3 years in Wigan and in Crewe. So I learned how to do it. I learned how not to do it as well. So I've said to the congregation here, you've by no means got the finished article here. I'll make mistakes along the way, and I haven't done this before, so you're going to have to sort of help me. But it's sort of gone, all right so far. I think we've been here about 3 months now. Ruth thinks we've only been here 2 months, but I'm sure it's a bit longer than that. So it's a small church, Jeannie, but it's it's going for God. And really, we've realized the more hands-off we are, the more God does,
Wonderful.
Yeah, and we keep praying for just new people to come, and new people are coming. Just people are coming and saying, I've been called to come to Hoik, and I've been called to come to this church, which is music to our ears. So what we really need, though, we need workers, because there's never enough.
No.
So yeah, the vision is just to make Jesus famous in Burnfoot. There's quite a few people on the peripheries of the church who have sort of been and are not coming anymore. So I'm dialoguing with them and trying to be gentle and loving to them and trying to ease them back in. And then we've got loads of Zoom services. We've got them coming out of our ears. So we've got a main service where we all meet, Jeannie, and then we've got weekday meets as well. And we've also got something starting in the new year called a worship wash, which is just a Sunday evening meeting which people can come or don't have to come if they don't want to. And it's just, we just play worship or just lead worship for half hour, 40 minutes, and people can either join in worship, they can meditate, they can do the dishes, they can do the hoovering. A bit of fellowship at the same time. So there we are.
And that sounds really nice and relaxed as well, Keith. Yeah. Now, Keith, you have recently written a book called Brokened. Yeah. Now, I know some people who have actually recently read your book, and I hear it's very good and very real. Yeah. Now, sometimes in church, Keith, we get the impression that everything is wonderful, and we kind of slip over people's problems. But your book addresses some of those issues. Was that the reason that you wrote this book, Keith? Yeah,
it was. I didn't think there was any books out there, Jeannie. I mean, there's some excellent Christian writing out there, and long may it continue, but I didn't feel there were many books that addressed Christian failure. There was lots of books that addressed failure before we were Christians, or issues before we were Christians. But I fell as a Christian, nobody's fault but my own. And on a few occasions, I was an atrocious witness for the Lord. I hold my hands up, and I had to really deal with that, and deal with that before God and get my stuff together. And that was horrible. That was horrible, having to deal with that stuff. And I blame nobody but myself. And I wanted to do a real book. I wanted to do, it's the same with anything I do. I want people either to really love it or to not want anything to do. I don't think what I do, be it music-wise, and I'm by no means on the same par as your lovely husband Paul, but I do my songs and stuff. I'd much rather people, because Christians generally, I wouldn't say they're dishonest, but they're so encouraging that it's very difficult to get a real honest opinion. The only one who gives me an honest opinion is Ruth.
Yes, your wife.
If I preach, she'll say, "Oh, blimey, Nora, that was a turkey," and I like that. So I think the stuff I do, either people are going to totally reject it, because the book really was actually quite brutal. But I've never had a problem sort of addressing those issues. There's some really odd bits in it. But the really funny thing is, Jeannie, to be honest, I'd kind of finished writing the book about 2 years ago, but never finished it off. And the Lord was really on my case. Finish that book off. And putting the last bit of paint on a painting, I just never finished it off. And then I just gave myself a week. I thought, well, I'm either going to finish it off or just bin it. So I finished it off. And so now when people say to me, "Oh, that bit in chapter 2 was really good," I'm thinking, which bit was that? I can't remember. But lots of people have said to me, that it's really spoke to them and stuff. I wanted to do a serious book in the sense of seriously addressing it, and no, there's not a lot of Christianese in there. There's not a lot of fluffiness in there. I call it. It's a lot of real stuff in there, and either people are going to get on board, or people are going to say, I'm not having that. That's Christianity is fluffy and wonderful. What on earth is that all about? So it is great, and people like Christelle have been very encouraging. I mean, I'd much rather people simply get the book if they want to read it. I don't want them to, it's probably the same with Paul, actually. I mean, I don't, or yourself, I don't want us to get the album to support our ministry. I mean, that's great. That's lovely. Yes. But get the book if you want to read it, because that's what it was written for. Don't get it and then just you can't keep it on the shelf because it's only a PDF. But don't we buy it, support your ministry. That's no good for me. Buy it because you want to read it and get on board with what it is. But it's not comfortable reading, and it wasn't comfortable to write, Jeannie, to be honest.
I'm sure.
I didn't really enjoy writing it. Not necessarily because of the content, but because the whole writing process is difficult. Because I don't know what other writers are like, but really I can only write seriously only about a paragraph a day without it becoming like brain ache.
Fogged, yeah.
So I didn't enjoy writing the book, and that's why I don't really want to write another book, but I did feel I wanted to write it. And Ruth is saying to me to try and get it published and stuff. I don't know. I know the direction reviewing it in this month's issue, or this, and I don't know if they've done that yet, actually. But I've actually said to them, please don't give me a fluffy review. You know, review it. If you think it's garbage, say it's garbage. And I don't want that kind of stuff, you know.
No.
I want honesty, and you know, I'd much rather somebody say that's a lousy book than, you know, just, oh, it was nice.
I think, Keith, that, you know, there are a lot of broken people, Christians and not Christians, if you like. And that will speak to many people, your book. Where can people get your book?
Well, I don't really, just contact me either on Facebook or via email, you know, if they want to get the book. It's called Brokened, which is a phrase that my niece used to use when something was falling apart. So it's broken. And I always remember that. So yeah, just through that, really, just through me. I haven't got a website or anything for the book. And, you know, I always say, you know, give us a few quid if you can, but if you can't, if you're struggling financially, it's only a PDF. It's not going to cost me anything to send. So yeah, just contact through me. And also what I do, I pray for the first couple of weeks for that person reading it. That's
really nice, Keith. That's a really good idea too. Yeah. So people can find you on Facebook, and your name is Keith James.
James, yeah. Friend of Paul Poulton and Jeannie Poulton as well.
Indeed. Now, Keith, what is the impression of our Heavenly Father compared to some earthly fathers who may not have lived up to the high expectations that children have of their fathers? Because your relationship with your father, tell us more.
Yeah, it wasn't quite a loving relationship. I think my father wanted to understand me. He wanted to get me, but he didn't get me. And I don't blame him for that. He was from, you know, a different generation. He was obviously a few generations back from us.
Yes. And
I don't think he really understood, because my brain was totally, because my father was, I think I say in the book, he was an upholsterer. Right. He ran his own sort of business. He loved his work. He lived for his work. He often did things in the house. You know, we would be preparing fabrics and stuff in the living room, you know, when we were trying to watch TV. And his sort of way of doing things was to work hard in your life to earn rewards for later in your life. So, you know, do the hard work now and the sweat and the strain and stuff, so you can have a good retirement and stuff. But I never thought like that. No. And it created an impasse a little bit. But I don't think it was ever a really bad thing. I just think my dad tried his best.
Right.
He couldn't understand me. And when he tried to teach me the trade, Jeannie, it was just a disaster, because he wasn't patient either. No. So he'd say, you know, do that. And I'd like try and do it. And then he'd say, no, like that. And so I got nervous and stuff. But I think all in all, he was a good man.
Yes.
He was a good man, and he actually accepted the Lord about a week before he died, and that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
The Lord gave me that opportunity to speak to him.
Yeah.
So and then for a Heavenly Father, of course, you do start thinking that your Heavenly Father's like that.
Yeah.
And I've struggled with getting a good image of my Heavenly Father, because my dad had a short temper.
Yes.
And what could be quite controlling in an environment. I think that would be a criticism of him. A little bit like it's my way or the highway kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I had to make a conscious decision that I'm not going to live up to his expectations of what he wants me to be, simply because I don't want that life. I think with the Heavenly Father, I think I dedicated an entire chapter. Again, it was 4 years ago. So I can't remember.
You're going to have to reread your book, Keith.
Copy, Jeannie. So yeah, I think it's one thing I'm learning is to change the face of God when you see it in your mind's eye. Change the face of God, because he is far more compassionate and loving. Yes, I think that Christians can see that. I wouldn't say a wrath face, but a face where God just says, let's get this sorted. At the beginning of 2018, it was I was either going to get my stuff together with the Lord, and it was just around the time that I was applying to go into full-time ministry on my own. And so the Lord, I didn't know it at the time, but the Lord was taking me, really through some bad stuff. That was the worst time in my life. Even before I was a Christian, Jeannie, I'd say that it was even worse than that. I can't even begin to articulate the stuff that was going down there. And maybe that lasted about 3 months. And how on earth I ever got out of it, I'll never know.
Did you suffer depression at that time? Well,
I think it's really difficult. I'm not even certain that you can really give a label to this stuff, I don't even know if you can give a label to this stuff. I would say before I was a Christian, yes, I ticked every box. But if it was even possible, it was even lower than that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even give it a label, to be honest, Jeannie. It was more, more, can I even get through the next hour?
Wow.
I'm not even going to say, because this is a light program, and you are light people, but I'm not even going to say the stuff that was going through my mind at that time.
No, but it was a tough time for you, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
And the Lord helped you with that, in that area of your life.
He had to take me through it. Yeah. And basically what the Lord was saying is, you can't carry on and then do this, or think this, or live this. And so nobody's fault but my own. But the Lord had to take me to the brink of a cliff, really, and really take me up to that point. And of course now, because I've been through that, I can witness to people, because I don't present Christianity as an easy option, or following the Lord as easy. Those first 5 years of my Christian life were bliss. Yes. Between 1989 and 1995 or whatever. But you can't live off that forever.
No.
In short, you have to get real.
Yes, I agree. I agree. And those experiences, I'm sure, have brought you closer to the Lord. And like you say, you can help people through some of their situations, because you've had experiences yourself. So, Keith, you have lived in Wales, England, Scotland. Is there anywhere else you would like to visit in the world?
No. Don't move anymore. Do you know, Jeannie, we've been married for 21 years, and I think statistically, on statistics rather, I think we've moved 15 times in 21 years.
Wow.
Sometimes we haven't had any choice, because the person has wanted to move back to the house or whatever. I mean, that's happened a few times.
Yeah.
So no, I don't really want to move. I mean, I loved living in England. I loved living in Wales. Obviously, I'm Welsh, and it's been great since I moved here. But we need to put some roots down, and that's even in this house, which is out on the sticks a little bit.
Yeah.
We have to put some roots on. So I've no plans to move on. I see Hawick as being, where my mission field for the immediate future. I hope until the Lord comes back, quite seriously. But you never know with the Lord, because he's Jehovah sneaky.
That's right, he is. So, Keith, thank you for this interview. You've been very honest today and real, and that's a good thing. Yeah. And God bless you and your wife Ruth as you minister and pastor in Scotland. May the Lord bless you. And thank you for being so open. I think a lot of people will be blessed by your book called Broken.
Yeah.
I think that will help a lot of people in need as they read that, as you've experienced those experiences yourself. So there's only one thing for it, Keith. Give me 5 this morning. Thank you for joining me. It's been a great interview. It's been a real pleasure to interview as well, Keith. And
Thanks,
God bless
Jeannie.
you as you continue to serve him. God bless, Keith.
You.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Bye.